So basically with this router, it's got all the technology in it to make it safe. So the cutters are rated at maybe 23 to 25 to 27 to 30,000 RPM, but we need to choose the right speed for the application. In other words, if we cut compact laminate like this, too fast, too hot, you get witness marks in it you can't sand out. So sometimes you slow the speed down, that's why there's a variable speed. Don't have to go maximum speed. The other thing is also we've got feed rate. So when you're pushing it, the feed rate is how fast you're trying to push it through it. And the trouble with Cordless is you're pushing it too hard, it's trying to slow down. The electronics package inside the machine talks to the battery and talks to everything very quickly. It talks to one another and goes, he's pushing really hard, I need a bit more power. So it pushes the power very, very quickly to maintain that speed. So we get that continual speed to get that real nice quality of cut across hardwoods, okay? Now when the battery gets a little bit lower, it starts talking and going, hang on a minute, I haven't got a lot of power left. This bloke's not letting off. If he pushes too hard, you know, what's going to happen? So then you get a warning light which flashes at you, a big bright white, and it's actually basically telling you, look mate, slow down, don't be silly. If not, it will then all shut down, going, you're not listening. Because if it gets too low and you're pushing too hard, the cutter could catch. So if the cutter catches and it spins on its axis or does that, it will stop. So all the LEDs will come on. When we reset it, they'll flash on the bottom and then you can re-go. So the electronics in here are programmed to understand all the dance moves that you're going to get with a router. So they understand that that is acceptable. They understand that going around a tight radius is acceptable. If we come across here, let's say we're doing a nice big U-turn here, we come round here and let's dance around the edge here, it's all okay. It's all good. But when we do that, if you've lost control of it, that is unacceptable. Spinning on its own axis is not normal. It all knows that if we go like this and we're routering and we take the router off this way, it's okay. You can shake it a little bit, but as soon as you make too much of a move, it goes, see you later. So the electronics are in it to protect you, but it's not there to interfere. So we had a guy yesterday who was turning around and said he knew everything about routers. We showed him this and he went quiet. And the reason he went quiet, because he was using another brand of manufacturer's router that didn't have this on. It kicked and it lost control. As he'd gone down, the reaction was to grab it, he grabbed the cutter. And you can get these cutters stuck out the bottom, can't we, at 23,000 RPM. So the important thing to note for end users is understand the speed and the cutter that you're using for the material you're doing. Sometimes you can cut materials too fast and it rounds the edge of the cutter over, which makes it appear blunt. And when it appears blunt, we've got to push it harder, and it's counterintuitive. And obviously the other important thing is we've got the dust extraction on the side, which is like 97% efficient. We've got this big hole in the bottom of the base and it's very close to the cutter for cutting out. And people have turned around and said in the past, it's about time DeWalt done something to keep up with the likes of Festool and the main manufacturers of routers. This was designed in 1991. They brought it out on a 1/4-inch router, and us tradesmen are a little bit too tight, aren't we? So we didn't want to pay the money. So they didn't sell. The routers then sort of fell off the shelf, but they kept this, put it in the cupboard until now, and then right, when we're bringing out probably the best 1/4-inch router, well, sorry, 1/2-inch router out there, we need to have dust extractors. All of a sudden, we're really acute about dust extraction, aren't we? So to help it along, they've also, on the base, they've got this shroud that clips in the bottom. But one thing you'll notice about the shroud, it's almost got like, shaped like a helter-skelter. It's all shaped inside. What that does is it actually causes the air to act like a mini tornado. And as you understand with a tornado, once the air's tumbling and spinning, it's the vacuum it's created behind it that causes like a suction, causes like a vacuum, and it pulls everything in a lot more. So what does that mean in reality? Well, let's put this on here and we'll put it on. I'll go and get a dust extractor and show you when we set it up, and I'll show you what 97% looks like, yeah? So on this one here, because we've got this on, it's going to create that air like a cyclone. We've got 25mm MDF and we've got a pretty ropey 15mm round over, all right? So we're going to do real time. We put it on. Pretty good, right? But in reality, what does that mean? Well, if we take this off and do this, you look up the top here. That's the reality of what 97% efficiency is. Now, what I turn around to say to people about dust extraction, A dust extractor pays for my first week's holiday every single year. If I can save 10 minutes a day tidying up, 1 hour a week, 48 hours a year, that's saving me 48 hours a year, as well as saving my lungs, as well as saving my health and everything we should be. So that's what 97% efficiency looks like. So when they make these claims, right, they don't just pick a number out of the air, they have to process it, they have to check it, and I think that's just proved how good the dust extraction is. And the thing is about it as well, is if we take the 1/4 inch router, which has been out for years, they've taken all the similar plunge mechanism, and when you think that's their 1/4 inch, the height is not a lot different. And actually you think it looks big, but when we put the two side by side and we line up the handles and the handles, it's not that much bigger. Now yes, they could have made it 54 volt, they've got 54 volt motors. That's a heavier motor, it's going to undoubtedly give you more power, you're going to have bigger batteries on it, but it takes away that lightness, the nimbleness and how you can use it. So when you start using it up here, if you want to use it on something, then you've got all the extra weight and everything. And there's a point where there's too much weight, makes it cumbersome, doesn't it? So I think they've done a fantastic job. I've been running with it with about 18, 20 months in testing, and I haven't managed to get that light to come on with me yet or anything, because it's just got the power, is incredible.